Loyalty in football is not just about supporting a club when it wins, it is about standing by your team when things go wrong. And few Manchester United fans have shown that loyalty in a more dramatic and viral way than the supporter known online as the United Strand. His real name is Frank Illett, but to thousands of football fans across social media, he became something else. A symbol of devotion, frustration, and unexpected internet fame. The story began with a simple promise. Frank publicly declared that he would not cut his hair until Manchester United managed to win 5 consecutive games, 5 wins in a row. On paper, that might not sound impossible for a club of United's size and history. But in the current era, marked by inconsistency, managerial changes, and mixed performances, it became a much bigger challenge than expected. At first, the promise felt like a fun gesture, a light-hearted way for a fan to show belief in his team. But as weeks turned into months, the situation started to change. United would win one game, then draw, then lose, then start again. Every time momentum seemed to build, it collapsed. And Frank's hair kept growing. What made this challenge different from other fan promises was the consistency. He did not back down. He did not adjust the rules. He did not disappear when the team struggled. Instead, he documented everything. Match reactions, pre-game optimism, post-game frustration. All while his hair became longer and more noticeable. Eventually, the United Strand became more than just a nickname. It became a brand. Fans recognized him at matches. Clips of his reactions began circulating online. Some supporters praised his dedication. Others found humor in the situation. But everyone understood one thing. He was committed. Then, something unexpected happened. Manchester United finally began putting together a positive run of results. 1 win, 2 wins, 3 wins. Suddenly, the promise that once seemed impossible was within reach. The internet began tracking it. Fans counted down the matches. Could this finally be the moment? 4 wins in a row, 1 more victory, and the challenge would be complete. The anticipation was massive, not just for Frank, but for the online community that had followed his journey. And then came the decisive match. Instead of victory, United dropped points. The run ended. The streak was broken. The haircut was delayed again. What followed made the story even bigger. Players and media personalities began referencing the situation. West Ham's social media accounts even mocked the failed streak, posting playful content that indirectly highlighted the broken promise. The situation went from a fan challenge to a football-wide talking point. Some supporters found it hilarious. Others felt it was unnecessary to single out a loyal fan. But regardless of opinion, one thing was undeniable. The promise had nearly been completed. And that almost made it even more dramatic. There is something symbolic about the story. A fan refuses to cut his hair until his club achieves stability. The club gets close, hope rises, and then reality hits. It mirrors the modern Manchester United experience. Moments of optimism followed by setbacks. Progress followed by frustration. But what stands out most is not the failed streak. It is the commitment. Frank never turned the challenge into negativity. He never blamed players personally. He never attacked the club. Instead, he remained passionate, emotional, and loyal. In an era where football fandom is often dominated by outrage and instant reactions, his story felt different. It felt human. It showed how deeply football can affect ordinary supporters. Because for many fans, football is not just entertainment. It is routine, it is identity, it is hope. The United Strand became a reminder of that. The promise may not have been completed, at least not yet, but it created something bigger than a haircut. It created a moment, a shared experience between a club and its supporters. And in many ways, that is what football is truly about. Now the question remains, will Manchester United eventually deliver those 5 consecutive wins? And when they do, will the United Strand finally sit in the barber's chair and end the challenge? Or has this promise become part of something larger? A symbol of loyalty during one of the club's most unpredictable eras. One thing is certain, Whether you find it funny, dramatic, or inspiring, this story proves that passion in football is still alive. And sometimes, the most memorable moments do not happen on the pitch, they happen in the stands. After the draw in the final match that ended Manchester United's winning streak, the story took an unexpected turn. It was not just about the result anymore. It was not just about a broken promise. It became something bigger and much more viral. Shortly after the match, West Ham players decided to join the joke. Instead of ignoring the situation, they embraced it. Videos began circulating showing West Ham players cutting their own hair in a playful reference to the United Strand's promise. The message was clear, even without words. While one fan would have to wait longer for his long awaited haircut, they were celebrating the moment in their own way. It was classic football banter, light-hearted, provocative, designed to entertain. For some fans, it was hilarious. They saw it as harmless fun, part of what makes English football culture so unique. Rivalries are not just played on the pitch, they continue online, in dressing rooms, and across social media. But for others, it crossed a line. Some Manchester United supporters felt that targeting a loyal fan, someone who had simply shown dedication to his club, was unnecessary. They argued that players, as professionals, should focus on performances rather than engaging in online jokes. Still, the reality is that modern football operates differently. Clubs are brands, players are personalities, and moments like these spread faster than any post match interview. By cutting their own hair, West Ham players transformed a simple draw into a viral moment. They inserted themselves directly into the narrative, ensuring that the story would trend far beyond the final whistle. It also highlighted something important about today's game. Football is no longer confined to 90 minutes. It lives on social media, it thrives on memes, reactions, and shared moments. In many ways, the West Ham players understood exactly what they were doing. They were amplifying the story, they were leaning into the joke, and whether people loved it or hated it, they kept the spotlight firmly on the moment. For the United Strand, it meant that his promise, and the near completion of it, became even more famous. Instead of fading away after the draw, it exploded. The haircut challenge was no longer just a Manchester United fan story. It became part of a rivalry narrative. And that is what makes this situation so fascinating. A simple fan promise, a nearly completed streak, one draw, and a group of rival players turning it into a football-wide talking point. This is modern football culture at its purest form, competitive, emotional, and constantly connected. Now the question becomes, was it harmless banter or unnecessary mockery? That debate continues. But one thing is certain. The moment West Ham players picked up the Clippers, the story reached an entirely new level.
Day 1000 of not cutting my hair until Man United win 5 games in a row.
While Wayne Rooney has not made an official public statement specifically about the United Strand's haircut promise, it is not difficult to imagine what his perspective might be. Rooney has always spoken strongly about loyalty, mentality, and the connection between Manchester United and its supporters. Throughout his career at Old Trafford, he repeatedly emphasized that the fans are the foundation of the club. Their passion, their expectations, and their standards are what make Manchester United different. From Rooney's point of view, a fan refusing to cut his hair until the team wins 5 consecutive games would likely be seen as dedication. Pure and simple, Rooney understands what it means to carry pressure. He played during eras when anything less than a winning streak was considered failure. He knows that 5 wins in a row should not be an impossible target for Manchester United. At the same time, Rooney has always been honest about standards. He has publicly criticized performances when he felt the team lacked intensity or character. So, if he were to comment on this situation, he might shift the focus away from the fan and back onto the players. The real question from Rooney's mentality would not be about a haircut. It would be about consistency, about why Manchester United in recent years has struggled to maintain winning momentum. Rooney often talks about mentality, about how great teams build habits of winning. And in that sense, the fans' promise becomes symbolic. It reflects a broader frustration among supporters who are simply waiting for stability. Rooney would likely respect the loyalty behind the challenge, but he would also probably remind everyone of something important. At Manchester United, 5 consecutive wins should not be extraordinary. It should be expected. And perhaps that is the deeper message behind this viral moment. Not the hair, not the jokes, but the standard. Because if there's one thing Wayne Rooney has always defended, it is the standard of Manchester United Football Club.